Oranguru BRS Turbo trigger Astro Zenith feature new Metagross from Silver Tempest with a super cool new ability Emergency Entry. When you put this card directly onto your bench, if you drew this Pokemon from your deck at the beginning of your turn, you also get to draw 3 cards with this ability as well. And you have to make sure that you have an extra spot on your bench to be able to play this ability, so you get to put this Pokemon onto your bench to be able to draw 3 cards. It also can attack, doing meteor match for 100 damage for 1 metal and 1 colorless. We actually get to do 100 more damage on our next turn as well. Playing 200 damage for a 1 price card is a lot after your first strike. You have to actually keep it in the active spot though. If your opponent play Escape Rope or Boss, you actually can't do 200 damage on your next turn anymore. So it's only doing 100 damage for 2 energy, which is not great. That's why we have our VMAX in this deck. We also are tanking as well with our VMAX, doing Hard Scissor for 90 damage and reducing 30 damage on our next turn, with our full face guard reducing even more damage with V-Guard energy as well. We have V-Guard, we can even attach V-Guard on our Metagross and then heal after on the next turn after tanking those damage. So we have our Radiant Tsareena to heal 20 damage from each of our Pokemon. If they spread damage, we have no Manaphy in this deck. If they spread damage, we actually get to heal with Radiant Tsareena. We also get to heal with Crystal Cave, Lucky Ice Pop, and 1 copy of Cook to help us survive a bit longer with our VMAX. And also Metagross. Metagross is a tanky 1 price card which you actually get to play every single turn. If they don't do a boss or escape rope, as I said, you get to do 200 damage for a 1 price card, which is super strong. And we also have our draw support as well. We have 2 Snorlax, 1 Oranguru to help us play Primate Wisdom. Primate Wisdom is actually key for this deck because we actually get to put our Metagross, if we have it directly in our hand already without playing an Incense, we actually get to put Metagross onto the top deck without having our opponent being aware of what we are trying to play. If we play Oranguru early without doing an Incense, we actually get to do Emergency Entry on our next turn if they don't play a Marnie. So if our opponent doesn't have a Marnie in their hand, if we have an Incense, we can actually do it on the same turn as well, and then play our ability on the next. And then we actually get to do 190 damage, 210 damage up to 210 with our Perrserker, doing max steel spike for a lot of damage after playing Hard Scissor. We actually have to play Hard Scissor first just to be able to get enough damage in the game, and also tank as well on the next turn, reducing damage on the next turn with our V-Guard, and also the Hard Scissor effect, plus that 1 full face card. So we also have our regular support cards that help us draw cards, 3 Marnie, 1 Research, 1 Schoolgirl, 1 Serena, and also 1 Boss to help us target any one of our bench, 2 Bird Keeper for the Switch, 1 Escape Rope, and also 1 Raihan to help us get enough energy in the game. We are only playing a 300 attacker, so we have only 1 Metal Saucer and 1 Raihan, but we actually get to, we get to do Hard Scissor first. We get to basically attack with Hard Scissor before doing max steel spike, helping us tank and also heal damage as well. So that means we actually have the luxury to attach energy 1 by 1. We don't actually need Metal Saucer. It's not that important. It's just that you kind of need it for your next attacker, just to prepare for a, for when your Scizor gets knocked out. So we also have our Incense, Ultra Ball to get our Evolution, Quick Ball, VIP Pass, and Capture for our basic summons. We also have 7 copies of basic Metal Energy and 1 coating against Fire types. We also are playing 3 Lucky Ice Pop for the recovery, 1 Zigzagoon for the extra damage counter, and 1 Perrserker for the damage boost, as I said. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay! Okay, let's go for our first game versus Lunatone Solrock. So we're playing the classic Pokemon Go deck, and we are actually doing exactly enough to knock out a Lunatone, 90 HP. Hard Scissor is basically not only doing a knockout, helping us draw 1 prize every single turn, but also reducing damage on the next turn. So we are tanking a lot with our Scizor because we are playing a VMAX. So 310 HP is a lot, and we actually get to recover after taking that much damage. So Lunatone Solrock is doing up to 200 plus damage per turn. I don't think they can hit more than that. 270 at most, I would say, because if they play Scoop Up Nets, they can actually have up to 7 or even, well, 9 energy. If they have 9 energies with a Choice Belt, they can actually hit 330 damage with Lunatone, but I don't think they can hit that high, because if they have 4 Solrocks with like a Raihan and Choice Belt, that would be 5, 6, 7, 8, plus possibly a couple of Scuba Nets. If they play Scuba, they only have that many Scuba Nets to play though. They can't actually pull off that many nets. They only have that, they have limited supply of the nets, and if they use up all of them for the first knockout, then they can't actually play, for the next knockout, they actually have to do a 2-hit knockout strategy. They have to strike twice for the next Scizor VMAX. We are playing 3 copies for this deck. So if we have to choose, it's better not to play a second copy though. It's better just to tank with your first one. And I don't think they can do a one-hit knockout. I don't think it's that easy, because they need like 9 energies. And even then, it's not enough because we have Hard Scizor, where they actually need 340 HP, sorry, 350 damage to knock out our Scizor VMAX after we do our Hard Scizor. And if we have that tool card attachment as well, they actually need a little bit more. So Full Face Guard is reducing 20 more damage, V Guard is reducing 30 more, but if they are not playing a V deck, they have no V Pokemons in their deck, so V Guard is doing nothing for this game, unfortunately. If you have a Metagross in play though, playing a V Guard for Metagross is super fun because you actually get to tank a lot of damage and then recover on the next turn with Crystal Cave, doing Meteor Mash for 200 damage after surviving 1 hit. So, you know, Metagross with V Guard actually fits in perfectly because it requires 1 metal and one colorless, and V Guard supports Metagross, you know, attack cost and also helps it tank damage on the next turn to survive 1 turn as well. If they play Escape Rope or Boss though, Meteor Mash is, you know, you actually have to do, you're only able to do 100 damage on the next turn. It's resetting Meteor Mash's attack base. You can't actually boost its attack damage on the next turn anymore. But we have Perrserker to help us, you know, top off for the knockout. We actually get to do 20 more damage with Steely Spirit with all of our metal Pokemons. So Perrserker is helping us do the math against VMAX knockouts, doing Hard Scizor first before playing our Max Steel Spike for the knockout. So 90 damage plus 190 is actually not enough. If we play Scizor to kill off a VMAX, it's quite difficult to pull it off. With that, Perrserker is actually helping us do a knockout against a 320 HP VMAX. Exactly. That's why we are playing a Zigzagoon in his deck. Zigzagoon helps us top it off against a Kyurem VMAX, or, you know, well, Kyurem is actually weak towards metal, isn't it? Kyurem is an ice type, so we can actually one hit knockout a Kyurem VMAX with our Max Steel Spike without even doing Hard Scizor. Against any other recent VMAX though, because now VMAX Pokemons have 330 HP, which is 10 more HP than normal, and 330 means you actually need a Zigzagoon in addition to your Perrserker to knock out a VMAX. If you don't have a Perrserker or Zigzagoon in the deck, if you have a full bench, if you want to be playing Metagross, you actually can't play a Zigzagoon. You know, you are not able to, you can't afford to bench a Zigzagoon sometimes if you want to have a Metagross on the next turn, benched with its ability. So that means you actually have to do Hard Scizor twice before collecting the knockout with your Max Steel Spike, which is still a big plus though, because you actually get to tank and basically buy time until you get a heal cards. Tank and heal until you can do the knockout with your Max Steel Spike. So that's the way you should be playing your Scizor VMAX. While waiting for your Metagross to get in the game, you also have your we also have Metal Saucer and Raihan to help us charge up our Metagross to attack on the next turn while tanking with Scizor. So if you can't play a Metal Saucer, you can actually survive with Scizor, helping you buy time for you to attach more energies onto your Pokemon to prepare for your next attacker. So tanking is actually helping us prepare our Pokemons. Charging up our Pokemons is basically not an issue anymore, as long as we can tank and heal every single turn. We have 3 Lucky Ice Pop and 2 Crystal Cave with 1 Cook as well, so it's not too bad. We have enough heal cards with Radiant Tsareena helping us heal 20 damage every single turn. So if they play Path of the Peak though, Radiant Tsareena is not able to use his ability, but we do have 2 Stadium cards to help us not only remove Path to help us recover 20 damage with Serena, but also recover 30 more with our Crystal Cave. Crystal Cave works for Dragon type Pokemon as well, which is pretty interesting though, because you get to play it with Regidrago V-Star, you get to play it with Dragonite V-Star. Anyways, so right now they actually did triple Scoop on Nets. They did Scoop on Net 3 times, and they're able to hit 270 damage this turn, which is a lot more than usual, because they actually only have 3 Solroks on the bench. It's better to play like 4 Solroks with more heavy balls in your Lunatone Solrock deck. I recommend, but if you do that, you kind of need Air Balloon or more nets and, you know, escape ropes to basically switch your Pokemon after your first Lunatone gets knocked out, because if you have like 4 Solroks with 1 Greninja on the bench, you have no room for a second Lunatone. So we actually made a blunder on this turn. We should have attacked with Scizor, but we actually chose to attack with Metagross because we got a switch card with Marnie. You'll see that we actually got a switch card with Marnie, and the reason that was a mistake is because we could have reduced more damage with our Scizor. We are healing this turn with our Lucky Ice Pop and reducing 20 damage with full face guard. If we did hard Scizor, we could have prevented a knockout on the next turn. I think we'd prevent a knockout anyways. I'm not too sure. I forgot. But we could have reduced a lot more damage. Because 90 damage is actually enough to kill off the Lunatone. So Scizor is actually the perfect match. This is actually, we actually got a perfect matchup right now. But it normally never happens though. If you build a deck, it only happens in the first few matchups, I would say. So make sure you are very careful with your gameplay when you're building a deck. If you are a regular deck builder, make sure you are very careful with gameplay on the very first few games that you do, because those are the games that count. There we go. We did Meteor Mash with Metagross, and we weren't expecting a boss. We weren't really expecting a boss because that means we are actually reducing 0 damage with Hard Scizor. We are reducing with full face guard though. So if they boss the Metagross after we attack with Scizor, that wouldn't have mean anything because Metagross is dying anyways with 1 hit. So it would mean that we can actually survive more turns with the Scizor VMAX. It doesn't really matter that we can attack with Metagross. If we can't attack with Metagross after they do the knockout, we would actually be able to do more times, attack more times with our Scizor to collect more prizes. So it's kind of the same thing. Okay, can they do a knockout though? They actually need 5 energies, right? To kill off the Metagross. And there we go. They did a boss and it's still not enough because they only have 3 psychic energy on Lunatone, doing 120 damage minus 20. We could have reduced a lot more and recovered those damages. Like if they did only 70 damage on the Scizor, we could have recovered with Crystal Cave as well. But we don't actually have any supporter cards in our hand. So no supporter cards, no Crystal Cave. We got a pretty bad hand right now. So Marnie actually screwed us over. We eventually have an extra Bird Keeper. I don't think we have an extra Bird Keeper for this game. I think we cut off a Pokemon card, one of our Pokemon cards for a Bird Keeper, helping us not only do the switch, but also after playing, switching after playing Gormandize is a big thing. And, it doesn't only help us attack after playing Gormandize, it also helps us draw cards as well. Okay, here comes Max Steel Spike. Oh, we're gonna do Hard Scizor. Like, let's not play Max Steel Spike at all. The reason we attach the V-Guard is because we already have enough energy on Metagross anyways. And if we attach the V-Guard after they play a Crushing Hammer, it would make no sense for us to attach it to Metagross because it only needs 1 colorless and 1 metal. If they discard the metal energy, it would still not be enough for us to attack. So it doesn't make sense for us to attach the second V-Guard on the Metagross. And we're not able to heal enough damage on the VMAX, unfortunately. Didn't get our Crystal Cave, didn't get another Lucky Ice Pop. So they're doing 120 damage this turn if they don't get their Choice Belt or more nets. 120 damage. That's 100 damage, my bad. 340. Which would not have been enough if we did Hard Scizor on the last turn. Because that would be 340, right? They actually need... Oh, it's enough, my bad. No, it's not enough. Because if we reduce 30, that would be 310. And we have 320 HP on Scizor. So that was a big mistake. We should have attacked in the active. Make sure you attack in the active every single turn with Scizor until you can't, until you are forced to switch. Because some games, you are actually forced to switch if they poison you, if they use Hisuian Zoroark, from Astro Radiance to basically, from Lost Origin, my bad, to basically knock you out with the effects of attacks. You actually have to switch to remove the effects so that you actually get to attack with it again. on the next turn. Attacking with Scizor, doing Hard Scizor every single turn is going to help you a lot. If you are up against a 1-price low HP deck, make sure you do that. Do not switch and attack with anything else. Okay, we got Metagross and nothing else to attack. This is pretty bad. Let's hope we get the tank with Metagross. They actually play another Escape Rope right here, which is kind of gnarly. So if they get another Solrock or another Net, they can actually knock out anything on the bench, because we only have up to 140 HP to tank. Serena has a little bit more HP than Snorlax, but we can't actually survive if they get their 4th energy on Lunatone. So if they attach an extra 1, if they play Training Court or Energy Retrieval, if they play Raihan or Heavy Ball to get another Solrock, Rescue Carrier, whatever, they can actually knock out the Snorlax. It's the same though if we put Snorlax or Serena. That's the reason we put Snorlax. And if they get 1 extra prize this turn, all they need is a boss to win the game. So let's hope they don't get their Solrock. They actually switched. Oh, they played Escape Rope, which means they actually need to switch now. If they don't get their Scoop of Net, they can't actually win the game. So they did not get anything and they conceded. So no Net means they can't actually play. They can't attack with Lunatone. And no Net means they don't have enough energy to do the knockout anyways. Unless they get Heavy Ball for the last Solrock. So right now we're up against Mew VMAX. And we have a Drapion now. For the last game, I don't think we have a Drapion. Easy counter against a VMAX is to add Drapion. Because it does a one-hit knockout not only on the Mew VMAX but also on Genesect. If you can do a boss on the Genesect, Serena, early, you are actually able to collect 2 prizes before they bench their Oranguru, because Oranguru is going to help you. Is going to help them prevent the knockout against what's it called again? Dynamic Tail. My bad. Dynamic Tail is only doing 190 damage, and Oranguru is actually enough to reduce and prevent a knockout. So they played their V-Star power early and search for a VIP pass to draw a lot of cards from the get-go, and that's actually going to help them in the long run. So this is a pretty intense game because they actually get to bench a lot of their Genesects from the start. So not always Mew VMAX gets that lucky though. Some games Mew VMAX did not get their VIP, and if they don't get their Forest Seal Stone or any other cards to search for the VIP, Cramomatic doesn't work every game. It sometimes doesn't work. If you flip a Tails, if they don't get their VIP, they're done for. Okay, we got our VIP for Serena and Meowth. Let's just bench our Serena. Okay, we chose Drapion. We chose Drapion from the start, which is pretty risky though, because if we bench Drapion right now, they could easily do a boss. There we go, we chose Serena. I think it's safer to play Serena. I don't think we should be playing that much risk, because Mew VMAX has a lot of bosses, a lot of Serenas. It really makes no sense for us to be benching Drapion without doing a knockout. Okay, we're gonna Gormandize right now. I don't think we should be playing Marnie, because we actually got a perfect hand for us to evolve and bench the Drapion on the next turn. We're just gonna discard the Incense and draw with Gormandize. So Mew VMAX can quite easily knock out our Scizor VMAX if they have enough power tablets on the same turn, if they play enough copies in the same turn, or if they play Melodious Echo. Honestly, that card, that attack is just broken as fuck. I hate Meloetta. Like, it's just fucking annoying. 280 damage. Like, all you need is 1 Choice Belt and 1 power tablet to knock out any VMAX, even with the damage buff, even with the damage reduction. So we have full face guard and V guard though. That means we are reducing up to 80 damage. And that means they need 400 damage to knock out Scizor. 400 damage is kind of a tall order. So even with, they actually have double turbo right now. Even with Choice Belt and 4 copies of Power Tablet on the same turn, they can't actually knock us out with Techno Blast. But they can still do it with Meloetta's Melodious Echo. So if they play enough Fusion Strike Energy, if they have enough copies in play, they can actually do the knockout quite easily. They already used their Forest Steel Stone though, so playing your Steel Stone that early means you may not be able to do Melodious Echo anymore, which is kind of a bad thing because you want to be searching for your Fusion Strike Energy to attach to do 280 damage with that attack. 280 is a lot, and that's gonna help you a lot in any game, in any matchup. Well, unless you are playing against a one price, obviously. We're gonna play a quick ball, and we're just gonna search for. Oh, we are actually gonna attack with Drapion right now, because we got a switch in our hand. Let's just attack with Drapion, because if they don't knock out our Drapion, if they knock out the Scizor on the next turn, we actually get another shot with Drapion, and they don't actually have a Mew on the bench. So no Mew on the bench means all we need to do is deal with the Meloetta, and then they can't attack on the next turn, right? Well, if they have Elisa though, I think they can win quite easily. They still have a strong chance of winning if they can actually knock out the Drapion and then the VMAX, or even do a boss on the VMAX and then deal with the Drapion later. Because Scizor doesn't actually have any V-Guard right now, and we don't have V-Guard, we have no hard Scizor effect, we don't even have full face guard on it, so they just need 320 damage to knock out the Scizor. If they can do a boss right now, they would actually be able to knock out the Scizor much easier. But they actually lost 1 Fusion Strike Energy though. So 1 Fusion Strike Energy discarded from the knockout, that means Meloetta is not able to do enough damage without enough Power Tablets. So now they need either 3 Power Tablets with a Choice Belt, or 4 Power Tablets to knock out the Scizor with a boss, and that's a tall order even with that many Genesects. 4 copies, like exactly 4 Genesects in a game. Crazy. You get to draw so many cards. Genesect is just insane, isn't it? Elisa, and apparently, do they have it though? I'm pretty sure they have it. Like, almost every game, Mew VMAX have all 4 copies inside the deck. I have no idea why, but whenever you play a Mew VMAX, you would be that lucky. All 4 Fusion Strike Energy inside the deck, and none prized every fucking game. Why? Why is it that broken? So we're just gonna boss the Mew right now and draw an extra 2 prize, because Meloetta dies quite easily. We can even play Hard Scizor for a Meloetta knockout. So if we kill the Mew right now, I think we won the game already, because we just need 1 more prize, and they have no VMAX on the bench, they have no evolution on the next turn. If we don't deal with the Mew, they're gonna evolve and kill us. So they had to attack with Meloetta on the last turn, and they did not. I don't know why, because they actually can do enough damage to knock us out. But apparently they didn't get their energy though. If they play double turbo on the Meloetta, they actually need either a Power Tablet, which is quite easy though. I don't think they played a single tablet yet. So they just need 1 tablet or 1 Choice Belt to knock out the Drapion with the double turbo, and they actually played a V-Guard. Okay, apparently they have no energy on the last turn. Surprise, surprise. Drawing that many cards from Genesect and getting no energy for a Mew VMAX deck is pretty ridiculous. Apparently they have not enough energy, I suppose, because we are playing 11 copies and they may have like nothing but special energies in their deck. They should be playing more Ultra Balls though. Ultra Ball is going to help you draw a lot more with Genesect. So they finally dealt with the Drapion, and now we get to do Hard Scizor for the knockout. But we're just gonna do Max Steel Spike because, you know, you never know if they have any they can actually avoid the knockout with Hard Scizor. Oranguru is actually not enough because we have a Perrserker, so we actually still get to knock out the 𝑑𝑻𝑪𝒏𝒂 even with Oranguru in play. And Hard Scizor is helping us reduce damage on the next turn as well, so that's pretty interesting. If they play 𝑑𝑻𝑪𝒏𝒂 early, if they switch to, or even if they play their first Mew and then switch to the 𝑑𝑻𝑪𝒏𝒂 to attack with Melodious Echo, you can actually play Hard Scizor and then reduce damage from the Mew on the next turn. By that time though, I think they would be able to kill your Scizor, right? Because that would be the third turn. That would be their third strike. Unless if you are lucky enough to flip enough, you know, heads with your Lucky Ice Pop. Okay, right now we're up against a one-price Spiritomb Ditto deck, doing a lot of damage for only 2 darkness. So they're playing Raihan, Dark Patch, and Liepard. They actually have Liepard instead of Chinchino, which is pretty interesting. So Liepard is a dark type Pokemon. That means you get to play Pierce with your Spiritomb Liepard, helping you search for extra copies of your Spiritomb and discard it from your hand. I prefer playing Professor Burnett though, because Burnett actually allows you to discard much easier, and all you need is 4 copies. All you need is 4 copies of Spiritomb in the discard pile for you to do a max of 250 damage without the Choice Belt. Is killing a V-Star with the Choice Belt, isn't that insane? That's probably the worst, probably the craziest one-price card right now. A one-price basic doing a V-Star knockout for only 2 energies. You even have a really good ability. So if you have Spiritomb in play, if you can attack with the first one without doing Sun Transformation, without playing Ditto, you can actually search your deck with this ability after the knockout. Search your deck for any one card and put it into your hand. That means you get to play Raihan for your next attacker, you get to play Raihan for Ditto, or even Dark Patch for your second Spiritomb. Obviously, if you have a Spiritomb in play, you can't actually do that much damage anymore because you don't have it in the discard pile. So you should be playing Ditto if you're up against V-Star or VMAX, because that helps you do a lot more damage. Because they can actually quite easily do a boss and kill your Ditto instead of the Spiritomb, and that means you're doing a lot less damage. So you shouldn't be benching any Spiritomb, honestly. If you see any, if you have, you know, if there is any V-Star or VMAX in sight on your opponent's bench or in the active. Okay, we got our Marnie. We're just gonna play our we got Metagross early as well, which is pretty cool. We're just gonna attach the coating because we already did our V-Guard on Scizor. I think we chose to attach the V-Guard on Metagross. There we go. So we are charging Metagross for the attack because all we need is 2 energies to do Meteor Mash, because we don't actually need that much damage to knock out all of their Pokemons. And Meteor Mash is actually enough to kill the Spiritomb right now. And then on the next turn is actually helping us do a Crobat V knockout. If they try to avoid the knockout by putting Crobat in the active, we actually can still do the knockout with our Meteor Mash. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think we need our Perrserker for this game. Apparently we're just gonna keep it in our hand. I don't know why. We should be evolving though, right? I feel like the reason we're not evolving is because we need the discard. Sometimes it's better to keep your Meowth on the bench, because if you have the ability, it actually helps you discard your VIP pass. It helps you discard all the unnecessary cards, or even your energy to play your Metal Saucer. It helps you discard all the unnecessary cards so that after you play the Marnie and shuffle your deck with the item, you actually get to draw useful cards from the deck. Right? If you play a Marnie to put it at the bottom, obviously it's not going to show up after some time. But if you play a Marnie and then a Ball to basically shuffle your deck, that means you actually have your VIP back inside the deck somewhere. right? You don't want to top deck a VIP on the next turn because we're not playing that many supporter cards for this deck. So we want to be compressing the deck with our what's it called again? Evolution Roar, helping us discard all the unnecessary cards and then play a supporter card after that to basically have as much necessary cards inside the deck as we can, helping us play Metagross's ability as well. So we got our first knockout this turn, and we actually get to play Evolution Roar for Metal Saucer as well. There we go. We got our first extra energy on the bench. We're just going to evolve Perrserker right now. Okay, we just need one more energy on Scizor on the next turn for us to play our Max Steel Spike against the Crobat, but I don't think we should be worrying about the Crobat right now because we need the Switch and the boss to deal with the Crobat for, not to deal with it, but to basically draw extra prizes for a V knockout. So apparently they just put a Crobat because they thought they are preventing a knockout. Since all of their Pokemon has low HP, they should be attacking with a Ditto though, right? So they did not get the energy. They should be searching for the energy. I don't think they have enough Spiritomb. I don't think they have enough discarded Spiritomb, and that's the reason they attach it to the Crobat. There we go. They could have retreated and attacked with a Ditto, but they don't have enough damage. So that's why they did Venomous Fang instead of... What's Spiritomb's attack called? I don't know. Vengeful Grudge? Whatever. So we actually got to kill the Crobat for 2 prize, and that's why they conceded. Because they didn't even collect a single prize yet. And we are 3 prize ahead. That's not good for them. And they're not killing the VMAX though. I don't think we evolved yet. We should be searching for the evolution fast, because they can quite easily knock out our Scizor before it evolves. So always evolve your VMAX early, and then after that you can actually play you know, your full face guard, reduce damage with it, tank, and then heal, and play its attack more times. Scizor is not doing a lot of damage, but eventually it can do a VMAX knockout. Eventually it can do, you know, if you're up against a 1 prize is ideal, because you actually can draw extra prizes with your Heart Scizor while tanking as well. If they have, for example, Manaphy on their bench or low HP cards, Chinchino, Kirlia, you can actually do a boss with your Heart Scizor for an extra prize before, or even Escape Rope, before doing Max Steel Spike against any other tankier cards, you know, for 1 prize builds. So now we're up against a Lost Box playing Kyogre, and we did a really terrible mistake for this game. We'll get to it later, but we did a really terrible blunder. Reason being, I got really tired after playing that many games with this deck. It's quite successful. I would say it's like about 70% success rate if you play, you know, if you're smart enough with your gameplay. Gameplay wise, I sometimes make a lot of blunders, so sorry about that, but I'm not able to stay sane all the way, because sometimes I get really tired after playing multiple games in a row, and I make a lot of mistakes, a lot of unnecessary, really stupid mistakes. Okay, they played their first Escape Rope, and doing a Celebrations Kyogre, they should not be wasting their Escape Ropes. Because we actually have no Manaphy in this game, you know, we're not playing Manaphy for this build, and that means Kyogre is actually able to hit the bench for 250 damage late game. Aqua Storm is gonna help them collect the knockout. So if you guys are not familiar with the Lost Box Kyogre. They're playing Mirage Gate for Aqua Storm, and then Recycler on the same turn. Energy Recycler helps them basically shuffle back all 5 energies, well, not all, but up to 5 energies, 5 basic energy from their discard pile back into the deck. And by the time they can play their Mirage Gate on the Kyogre, they would actually have a lot of cards drawn into their hand. With Comfy, a lot of cards lost it, and that means they would be able to play Recycler to have like basically nothing but energy in their deck. If they discard all cards in their deck though without winning the game, that means they actually deck out on the next turn. If they have like 10 cards left in the deck after playing the Recycler, they wouldn't be able to do that much damage. They would possibly be able to do 200 damage with Aqua Storm on two of their opponent's bench, but they are not able to hit the max damage, unfortunately. If they want to survive after attacking with an attack. If they are doing for the final hit though, they can do 250 damage to collect possibly 2 VMAX knockouts, 2 V-Star knockouts after playing Sableye. So Sableye is going to help them a lot. They actually get to play Lost Mine to collect enough damage counters on VMAX or even V-Stars, and then do Escape Rope at the last second to play Aqua Storm for double V-Star or double VMAX knockouts. So that's their main strategy. Sableye first, and then Kyogre. They can even collect damage counters with Cramorant. So that's the main strategy of their deck. If their opponent doesn't play any Manaphy's, it's gonna help them a lot against V decks. But we only have 1 VMAX in play though, so even if they deal with the VMAX, they need 3 more prizes on the next turn. Well, 2 more prizes because they are actually knocking out the other Pokemon as well on the bench. That means they're drawing 4 prizes if they can pull off the Kyogre for a VMAX knockout. Okay. Here comes Sableye, I guess. I don't think Sableye can attack that fast, but they may be doing Lost Mine already. They need 10 cards in the Lost Zone to be able to play that attack. It's not always that easy to pull off Sableye early in the game. And they're playing Pokestop as well, so that means they are basically decking themselves out. And they actually want to be doing that though, because to be able to hit as much damage with your Recycler Kyogre, you actually need to have as little cards in your deck as possible. If you have too many cards in your deck, Aqua Storm is not doing as much damage because you have much less chance of discarding energy from the top 5 cards of your deck. If you have only like 5 or 6 cards, you would be able to do up to 250 with Aqua Storm. Okay, we're doing our first Scizor, and we actually are forced to play our... We could have done Hard Scizor for the knockout if we had the foresight to bench the Meowth, but I don't think we have a Perrserker inside the deck. We may have the Meowth prize, I'm not too sure now. So we should have benched the Meowth, though I didn't have the foresight, I guess. So now we actually are forced to play Max Steel Spike for knockout. They are placing damage counters with Sableye though, so I don't think it makes any difference. If they play Cramorant, they are doing a lot more damage with Cramorant. So they could actually bench a second one and then do 110 damage. We are only recovering 50 HP on this turn, but we actually have a Lucky Ice Pop. So it's important to see what you have in your hand. If you don't play the right cards at the right time, you're done for. So we should be playing Lucky Ice Pop, but we did not, because we got overconfident, because we could actually knock out. They are playing Sableye this turn, so they did Lost Mine for 12 damage counter on the Scizor, and we healed only 50 damage from we only heal 50 HP from Scizor, and that means you have 7 more damage counters, and they are actually able to knock out the Scizor on the bench with Kyogre doing Aqua Storm for exactly 250 damage. And that would get them 4 prizes, but not the final remaining one. So that means they would actually still need to be lucky enough. They have rods though. They have rods in addition to the recycler. So if they draw all cards from the deck and then play a rod for only 2 energy, to shuffle back only 2 energy without any Pokemons, and shuffle back 5 more energy with the recycler, they actually got Aqua Storm for the max damage plus 2 more cards inside their deck to survive 2 more turns. Okay, we don't actually have a Meowth. I think we got a Meowth in the discard pile. I'm not too sure now. So this is quite an unlucky game because we didn't get to pull off our Metagross. No Metagross at all, which is pretty depressing. So we did 180 damage on the Comfy because it's a fairy type. And now we're taking 30 less damage. Oh, they haven't played Sabla yet, my bad. So they're gonna do it either this turn or the next. But they apparently are not able to play the Sabla yet on the last turn. So you should be thinking about drawing out your heal cards while you're attacking with Scizor, because when you can attack while attacking and tanking, you should be healing at the same time. Okay. They have 13 cards left in the deck. Flower select again. So they just need to play Mirage Gate, Recycler, Rod, and Switch. Because if they play Comfy, they actually need to switch. If they don't play Comfy, well, they don't have a Kyogre on the bench, so they are forced to switch though. So that means they still need to switch and do either a boss Escape Rope. If they got the Escape Rope, they don't need to switch, obviously. So they need Escape Rope, Mirage Gate, Rod, and Recycler to be able to pull off Kyogre on the next turn. They need a lot of extra switches as well if they want to empty their deck with Pokestop in addition to the Pokestop. So there we go. We have the Lucky Ice Pop in our hand and we did not play it. That was the biggest mistake of my life. I don't know why I didn't play it though. Like, I got really tired, I guess, because we could have done much more recovery, and they actually are playing a Crabominable as well. I did not realize that they have a Crabominable in their deck, and we got overconfident because Kyogre can actually knock out our Scizor. We have no Metagross, we have no additional attacker. Even if we have a Metagross, they are actually knocking out the Metagross as well, because they're doing 250 damage with Aqua Storm to kill not just the VMAX on the bench, but also the Metagross if we have it. So Escape Rope, Recycler is all they need. They kind of need a lot more though, right? They need Mirage Gate with an extra energy in their hand to attach. If they don't have the Rod, they can't actually play the Mirage Gate, right? They need the Rod to be able to play Mirage Gate and also an extra energy in their hand to attach while playing the Recycler. So it's a lot more difficult to play Kyogre than you think. For the last minute Aqua Storm, it's a lot easier to pull off Crabominable, but they actually play Escape Rope right now, so they need the boss, Mirage Gate, and an extra energy right now, and I don't think it's that easy. They actually switched to the Comfy. That means they need an extra switch now. They need boss, switch, energy, and Mirage Gate. Okay, they got the switch, they got the Escape Rope. So the reason they're playing that many copies is because Kyogre, they need the Escape Rope for Kyogre to hit the VMAX or V-Star on the bench for the max damage. We got overconfident for sure for this game, because we thought, you know, if we play a hard Scizor, they wouldn't be able to knock out our Scizor. But if they could charge up the Crabominable, they could have done a Scizor VMAX knockout, because Crabominable is doing so much damage, 60x for each damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon, plus 90 base. That's a lot. If you have 7 damage counter, they are doing 400 plus damage already. 510 damage, my bad. They're doing 510 damage plus the 7 damage counter. That's 580 damage on the Scizor VMAX. We're not able to survive that even after tanking, even after the damage reduction. So right now we're up against a Ice Rider, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure what they're playing actually. Regigigas? I have no idea. Okay, they're taking a little bit of their time. So they have a Mewtwo box. It could be a Psychic deck. We have Scizor in the active. There we go. It's a Reggie deck. Against a Reggie, you have to make sure you don't evolve your VMAX. If you evolve the VMAX, they can quite easily do 300 plus damage to knock you out. They have powerful energy, Choice Belt as well. So even with Heart Scissors effect, even with the full face guard, I don't think we can tank enough damage to avoid a one-hit knockout. Because all they need is one powerful and one Choice Belt. $350. Okay, they got Eleki in the active, and that means they can hit the bench. So against Eleki, Serena would be the perfect match. Since we're not playing Menifee, we can slowly recover those damage counters. They need a lot more turns to basically knock us out with Terra Spark thanks to our Serena. And we actually get to bench it on our first turn. So we're just going to bench another Scizor to help us attack more times after the first one gets knocked out. We should be preparing our draw support as well. We have a Snorlax already, so we shouldn't be worried about Snorlax. Let's just bench one Scizor right now. Oh, we actually chose not to bench anything. Because if they do a boss, we can't attack with the second Scizor. So we should be charging up the first one before benching the second. Let's do Gormandize. Let's just play Gormandize right now and get a second Scizor by discarding the Snorlax. Because that way we get to draw more cards with Gormandize. Let's just bench the Scizor. Because we got Metal Saucer and Raihan. I feel like we should be benching right now. I don't think they can kill the first Scizor with one hit though. But they can still play Reggie Ice. If they are smart enough, they would play Reggie Ice to prevent us from attacking. We would need to switch over and over just to attack with the same Scizor. So Reggie Ice does only 100 damage, but it is preventing the defending Pokemon from attacking if they are hitting a V Pokemon. So if they hit the Scizor, it can't attack on the next turn, but if we switch though, we can actually attack again with a second Scizor or switch back to the first one to attack again with another Slashing Claw. So Slashing Claw is doing a knockout, 140 damage, enough to kill any Reggies except the Regigigas, because Regigigas has exactly 10 more HP. 150 HP is a lot more than the usual Reggies, and that means we need the Perrserker, we either need the Perrserker or to do Hack Off first. If we do Hack Off before playing Slashing Claw, we actually need 2-hit knockout to kill. We need 2 hits to kill the Regigigas, which is not ideal. That's why we should be looking for our Perrserker right now. We should be benching our Meowth as fast as possible. If they are smart, they should be attacking with Regigigas every single turn, tanking and, you know, denying us from drawing one prize every single turn. Okay, we're gonna attach the energy on the Scizor. I don't think we should be attacking that early. I feel like we should be playing another Gormandize. Pretty sure they have a boss, but I don't think it's that easy though, because we just played a Marnie. Let's hope that's helping us. We got our VMAX, but we can't evolve. Remember that you cannot evolve your VMAX against a Reggie deck. You can evolve the V-Star, but not the VMAX. Because you're giving them free prizes, and not just that, you're giving them a one-hit knockout. So they don't have fire type. There's no such thing as a Reggie Flare. And that means they can't actually do a one-hit knockout against our Scizor. So we're safe. We can actually draw up to 3 prizes with a single Scizor. If we're lucky, if we get our switch cards, if we get our heal cards in time. So V-Guard is not doing anything again for this matchup. We need our full face guard. We got a Crystal Cave in the game a bit too early, but the reason being we want to be discarding our hand. If we discard our hand, we might as well just play the stadium card first to draw cards with research. So Path to the Peak is shutting down not just your Crobat V, but also your Radiant Pokemon's ability. So that means Radiant Tsareena cannot heal anymore. And we are not only healing less, since they are removing our Crystal Cave, they play another path. We're not only healing less with Crystal Cave being discarded, but also healing less without Serena's ability. So we got Cook. We got to recover 70 damage on the next turn if they don't play a Marnie. We need to keep our hand for 2 turns though. 2 turns straight. I don't think Reggie decks play Marnie because they kind of need research to discard their energy. They need a turbo support. They need turbo draw supports. They can play Bruno, Cynthia. They can play research, but I don't think they get to play Marnie. I don't think they get to play that many copies, even if they have one. Okay, they gotta discard their hand to be able to draw with Reggie Drago, and they chose to play Serena for the draw. Okay, they got Rod to shuffle back the Pokemons. Tracking Shoes. Dragon's Horde. 160 damage is a lot, isn't it? Free energy with your Regigigas. It is a dragon type though. That means you're not hitting the weakness against anything. I suppose that's the reason it's doing a little bit more damage than the other Reggies. Reggie Steel is probably the highest damage attacker, but you actually have to reduce 50 damage, which is a lot for each energy and each colorless in opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. If they have 2 colorless in their retreat cost, you're doing 100 less damage. That means you're only doing 120 damage for a heavy slam, which is not a lot, right? It's a lot less than Reggie Lucky because you're not able to hit for extra damage on the bench. If they have 1 energy retreat, you're able to do at least 170 damage. 170 damage is not bad, I guess. Against Kyurem VMAX, you can actually kill it with 1 hit. So Kyurem VMAX has probably more retreat cost than 1. I'm pretty sure it has at least 2 colorless retreat costs. So I don't think Reggie Steel can kill a Kyurem VMAX with 1 hit. They should be attacking with Reggie Ice right now. Either Reggie Ice or Regigigas, because Regigigas is tanking, is gonna, deny us from drawing an extra prize that easily because we have no Perrserker. We have no Meowth on the bench, no Perrserker. We should be benching a Perrserker right now as soon as possible. I mean, I don't know why we have no Meowth yet. Come on. So they got overexcited with the fact that we have no Manaphy on our bench. But they did not realize that we have Serena. That means we are recovering damage. Even if they do the boss, I don't think 20 damage, 2 damage counter on the Scizor would make any difference. Because we are healing with Crystal Cave as well. Oh my god. So that means we are recovering all damage from the bench Scizor. We have 2 damage counter on the Serena. So it's kind of really bad gameplay on our opponent's end. I guess they weren't really familiar. They weren't really aware what we were playing. They should be playing either Regigigas or Regigigas, because Scizor is not doing enough damage to kill the Regigigas with one hit. 140 damage, almost enough. There we go. We do have the Meowth, and we just benched it way too late. I don't know why. They could have denied us from the one prize draw this turn already. We should be benching the Meowth way earlier. Regirock is not doing enough though, because we have full face guard. We didn't heal enough damage. Only 50 damage from Serena and Crystal Cave, and that means we have like 8 more damage counters on the Scizor, which is not good. That means they need 130 more damage. Well, 150. So I guess they weren't aware of the full face guard. Because full face guard means we have 10 HP remaining, and we get to draw 3 prizes with a single Scizor. 3 prizes for a 2 prize, you know, knockout is actually a lot, and it's gonna help us win the game. They conceded because they knew drawing 3 prize for a 2 prize, you know, for us a V card is actually a big deal. So right now we're up against a Ice Rider VMAX deck, and we actually get to do a 1-hit knockout if we play our Max Steel Spike against the Ice Rider. We can't even play Meter Mash for 100 plus, you know, 100 plus damage for the first strike. We actually get to do 200 damage for our first Meteor Mash, and then 400 damage on the next turn against the next Ice Rider if they don't knock it out. They're probably going to knock it out though with 1 hit, because they got 250 damage in their belt. 250 damage is enough to kill our Metagross, even with Radiant Gardevoir and Pot Helmet. Okay, right now they're gonna do keep call for extra Sobbles on the bench. So they just need Melanie on the next turn to basically knock out our Scizor. So we should be benching a second copy or switching into a Snorlax. Unfortunately, we did not get our switch card though, so we kind of have to sacrifice the first 2 prize. That's the bad thing about Ice Rider. If you're playing against Ice Rider, it's kind of difficult to win still. Even if you are hitting for the weakness, it's still kind of difficult for you to win, especially if you go second, because they are super fast, right? They can hit 250 damage super early, and that means if you haven't evolved your V card yet, they can collect 2 prizes on for their first strike. They can already draw 2 prizes. There we go. We did not get our switch, and we should be benching a Snorlax, but we weren't aware that we would get another Scizor with the Marnie. So Marnie always destroys their hand. I hate Marnie. I'm so happy that it's gonna get rotated on the next set, on the next gen. My bad. Here comes Melanie. I'm pretty sure they can do it. They just need an Incense, a Melanie, and that's it. They even get to draw 3 extra cards. Oh my god, they did not retreat. What's happening? They didn't do the knockout. I don't know what's happening. They didn't play Melanie, they didn't play Switch, they didn't retreat. So, we can't do anything though. Unfortunately, we're not able to do anything because we got a dead hand. So we're forced to play Hack Off on the first Scizor because they could quite easily play Shady. If they incense for Inteleon, they can do a boss. If they play a boss, they can actually kill a Scizor on the bench. So we should be spreading our energies on this turn. If we spread the energy, boss is not going to do anything. I feel like we should be discarding... okay, we can't afford to discard the energy though. I suppose that's the reason why we chose not to evolve the Perrserker. Because they're probably going to scoop up the Drizzile. I don't think there's any value doing more damage to the Drizzile on this turn. There we go, they got their first 2 prize. We got a dead hand, which is really, really bad. Let's hope we at least get to evolve on the next turn. We got 3 copies of Metagross, so we should be getting... There we go. We got Metagross, Speak of the Devil. We got to draw 3 cards, and here comes the Incense. So we got Metagross without doing Primate Wisdom, which is like the best feeling of the world. Natural emergency entry. And we're going to play Serena to draw extra cards. So let's hope we get our full face guard. And let's hope they don't play Stadium on the next turn. If they play Shady for a Stadium card, they can actually remove, they can deny us from healing on the next turn with our Crystal Cave. But we got a second copy in our hand though. So I think we should be fine. So we're reducing damage by 30. If they play Choice Belt, they're only doing 250 damage, but 250 is still a lot though. If they bench a second Ice Rider right now, we're done for. We need Lucky Ice Pop like crazy. We didn't get our Cook, and that means we can't recover enough damage to prevent a knockout on the next turn. I'm pretty sure we're gonna die after the second strike. I don't think we can survive a second hit. Melanie, Quick Ball. Here comes the second Ice Rider. Oh my god. Oh my goodness, they didn't get the Ice Rider. So that's a Sobble. Are they gonna play another Quick Ball? No Ice Rider. Holy shit. They did not bench a second Ice Rider. What's happening? What is happening? So we're only able to heal 50 damage this turn because we didn't get our Lucky Ice Pop, unfortunately. But we're gonna charge up our Metagross and reduce damage with our Heart Scizor. No Ice Pop. Pretty bad. Marnie always destroys her hand. I just hate Marnie so much. So we're gonna evolve right now. I don't think it's necessary though, because we're doing a knockout anyways. I don't think Meowth has any value for this turn. So make sure you keep Meowth as the basic until you can evolve it, because the ability is quite useful. You can discard your metal energies for you to play Raihan. You may not have any basic metals in your discard pile for you to play Raihan early game. That's why it's always better to keep it. It's always better not to evolve your Meowth until you need it, until you have to, because for some turns, I don't think it's necessary. 20 extra damage sometimes is not necessary, but you never know though. You never really know. Against a V-Star or a VMAX, you should be playing the damage boost as early as possible. Against a one-price deck, if you don't really need it for the knockout, I don't think you should be worrying too much to evolve your Meowth. Obviously, bench the Meowth as early as you can, because, that way you get to choose when to evolve your Meowth. You can evolve it on the go. If you don't have it on the bench, you can't evolve it immediately when you need to. So they got a lot of Inteleons. They're gonna do Raihan possibly. For Waterfall, it's not enough damage though. Waterfall is doing 30 less, so only 40 damage plus 2 damage counter from the ability. We're taking only 6 damage counters this turn. They should be attacking with the second Inteleon. I mean, I don't think they played Raihan though. They played Marnie instead of Raihan, which is pretty weird. Okay, here comes another Drizzile. Oh my goodness, I hate Drizzile so much. Shady dealings, searching for any trainer. Oh my god, so fucking annoying. It's gonna get rotated finally. Okay, we're just gonna quick ball research. And since we are discarding the switch cards anyways, let's just play our Evolution Roar before doing our research. Okay, we got Oranguru. I don't think Zigzagoon is necessary for this game, so let's just play Oranguru. Okay, we got the evolution, and now we're gonna play research, discarding 0 cards from our hand and drawing 7. It's pretty cool. Alright, now we're gonna attach the energy onto our Scizor for us to do Max Steel Spike for the knockout. We did not get our heal cards though, which is pretty depressing. No heal cards, but we got the full face guard. So let's hope we get to survive one more turn with Scizor. That's gonna help us a lot. So we got only 20 damage reduction from the tool card. We have no damage reduction from the effect because we want to be playing Max Steel Spike for the knockout this turn. 210 damage from Perrserker's damage boost. So even with the boost, we're not able to knock out the Inteleon with our hot Scizor, unfortunately, because they only have 3 damage counters on it, and that's not enough. So I think I'm just gonna end the voice right here. If you guys focus on the game, hope you guys enjoyed this new combo featuring the new Metagross from Silver Tempest with a super cool new ability that allows you to bench it directly into play. If you draw it from the top deck at the beginning of your turn, you get to use the ability to draw cards as well. So we also have our Metal Saucer Raihan to charge up our Pokemon, our V-Guard, Full Face Guard to reduce damage, and also Hard Scizor helping us reduce damage with our VMAX as well, tanking with Scizor, and also V-Guard on our Metagross. We actually get to tank with that Pokemon as well, with a 1 price doing Meteor Mash for 100 damage, and 200 on the next turn, and for the turn after that. We actually get to do 200 damage for a 1 price card, which is pretty cool, and also Hard Scizor with Max Steel Spike for a V-Star, or even a VMAX knockout with our Perrserker. We also have our heal cards to tank, to basically heal after tanking our damage, using our Radiant Tsareena, Lucky Ice Pop, Cook, and also Crystal Cave to heal as much damage as we can in a single turn, and tank again on the next turn before doing the knockout with our VMAX. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day, and bye for now, people. Enjoy your life!